Wow, it's kind of amazing when you have a brand new mixer and you actually have to set levels at the appropriate volume
Ah,
because it works, right?
great volume, you say?
Good show.
Thank you.
No,
Yeah, that
I
was
mean,
fun. That was a fun conversation.
that was a really good kind of, especially from you, Justin. The whole kind of like, I mean, you brought up a lot of good points. I'm still on the fence. I'm still on the fence.
About Apple?
It's to me, it's not so much that they have the wherewithal. I wonder if they have the stomach to do a full-on be in the car industry, because there's a lot of things that you do in the car industry that you don't do with consumer electronics, and that just, I mean, it's a different kind of gambling, I guess. You know, some people might be, totally comfortable with playing the lotto or a scratcher, but if you tell them you're going to play Pai Gow or Baccarat and you're going to be putting in like $10,000 a bet, I mean, it's a different amount of risk.
Well, yeah, I mean, and listen, this is certainly a risk, and there is an element, and this is why I almost your instinct is why I'm like, you know what? At the end of the day, unless Apple is thrilled with what they see, and they are thrilled with their delivery method, and they are thrilled with how they're going to sell them, and they're thrilled with how much people are going to buy them, for which stuff like Tesla's pre-sale has got to buoy
for sure,
their believability in it. But if that's not the case, then I think you just go make the Godfather offer to Elon Musk and say, hey, look, would you also like to be the largest, a gigantic shareholder in Apple? And
Elon, like to meet Jimmy and Dre.
Yeah.
They've got some stories to tell you.
I guess my larger point is just nothing would surprise me with this, because
no, it's absolutely true.
Because the one thing that I did find weird about that sidebar thing is that it didn't show that number in percentage to their war chest.
You mean to the cash on hand?
Yes.
Yeah.
That yes, their R&D has exploded, but so has their cash.
Yeah, they've got a huge cash pile. I think a guy like that probably just assumes like, well, everybody knows about the cash pile. I don't need to point that out.
But that's something that that has exploded. I mean, I think that there's yes, it is important that we look at that number, because they have been R&D shy, because their point is that, listen, we don't need to employ a bunch of bespectacled boffins in a basement, dreaming of the future. We can see where the future is. Let's just focus on these two things that we know, and then we'll kill things here and again. But and
that's because they don't want to spend too many bets. They don't want to do a like scattershot. They R&D a phone, and then they R&D another thing, and then a tablet, and then So to me, that big R&D budget sticks out even more, because what it means to me is that car R&D is expensive, so that is their thing that they're spending the most money on researching and developing.
Absolutely. Now, the other element of this is we've seen Beats retain its brand value, right? And you've seen Apple's car stuff be talked about as they are setting up a startup within Apple. Is there a possibility that hood ornament or whatever's on the front of that car isn't the Apple icon? It is another separate thing.
I mean, Beats has retained its brand as far as hardware goes.
Yes.
It hasn't retained its brand anywhere else. So I don't know.
Well, yeah, but anything else that they've done have been new projects that they've done within Apple.
Well, right? No, Beats Music. Beats Music was another pillar.
Yes.
And it is now Apple Music.
Sure, but you could see a world where Beats Music was not long for this world.
Yeah, okay.
No
Sure. But yeah, like say let's just live in the crazy world where they buy Tesla. Do they leave it as Tesla?
Oh, I think they would leave Tesla as Tesla. My thought is Titan, let's just use Titan as a name.
Sure.
Is Titan Automotive their automotive thing? And now that can live and die.
I see.
On its own. And now
that's a good question. It would be very un-Apple-like to do that.
Spin anything off, it would be huge. But then again, It'd be very un-Apple-like to release a car. Right?
Yeah, right, exactly. I don't know. They get so much brand love out of putting that Apple on things, though. I mean, think of how many people put those Apple stickers that come
on their car.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
I know. I know who to rear end. No. Well, it's interesting because a lot of these conversations stem around whether or not Apple can and what path they will take. I've always imagined it as not so much that if they can, but whether they should, as a matter of course for business. I mean, the whole thing with mission creep and like trying to stretch out. Is it better for them to focus as an in-car component manufacturer, or not manufacturer but licensor, where they say, hey, we'll license you all your technology, you can put whatever car you want, but we don't need to carry the liability for the rest of the car. We don't have to worry about manufacturing.
But put that against Apple's need for control, and Apple's need to just actually say, no, we want to be the only ones with liability.
Or Apple's understanding that they can do customer care better than anyone. And
they?
That
may get some arguments on that.
Get your oil change at the Apple store.
I mean, like, yeah.
The Apple Care warranty on your car, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
No, you're right.
When you buy a laptop and it breaks, you know where to take it.
Sure.
And you get that grand Apple bargain, which is it's either free or $1,000.
Yeah.
It is a binary solution. So you roll the dice, and sometimes you get a free laptop, and sometimes you have to pay.
My mind immediately went to iCloud, where they're like, yeah, no, it just doesn't work that way. Sorry.
Oh yeah. Oh God, no. I mean, web services has always been there.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what their Genius Bar would look like if they started having to field car questions? It's just like a bunch of I don't know. Titles.
Oh, I already picked it since we got off on this. I needed to pick it before now.
You did
so
Apple Record.
I picked Apple Motors ? Which isn't even in Showbot.
Apple Motors.
Apple Motors.
If they call it Apple Motors Corporation, then they can revive the AMC badge.
AMC.
And they can build everything back in Kenosha, Wisconsin.
Chrysler owns AMC's trademark, right?
They did. They bought them out, but they only kept Eagle, and then they killed that.
No, but I mean owns the mark. Or did they lose it to Daimler when they divested themselves from Daimler? I don't know.
Now here's the other question.
Who sells Jeeps?
Chrysler. Fiat.
If you are looking,
Fiat might own AMC then.
If you are Apple, right? Because they talk about like, oh, well, you might see acquisitions from Apple, the likes of which you've never seen before. Could part of that be, if they're going forward with this car, either a full car company to buy their manufacturing capabilities, or I was very interested in what you said in terms of the dealership stuff. Do they buy a nationwide dealership to remodel?
Oh, yeah.
Like as the way that you buy an Apple car.
Sure. And then that fits in with my theory that they don't want to own a bunch of manufacturing plants, any more than they want to own a bunch of phone manufacturing plants. Yeah. So they strike a deal for that, but then they buy a dealership chain so that they can immediately create some Apple Motors locations. That's a good one. I like that.
Or do they say, you want to know what? We have showrooms. We're gonna buy this retail space, and then you're gonna buy it on your phone, and it'll be driven to you within 2 hours.
Oh, I mean, you can already hear the presentation at the keynote or the press conference. We're like, buying a car has never been easy. It's never been enjoyable. We think that needs to change.
No haggle pricing.
Oh yeah. When you go to our showroom, you can test drive a car. You can pick the one you want, and then either from there or in the comfort of your own home with the new Apple Motors app, you can select the car you want the way you want it and have it delivered right to you.
Financing be worked out on the app.
Oh yeah.
Did you have financing worked out for your computer?
If it's a self-driving car, it'd be great if it just drove itself home to you.
That's the other element, is that we're thinking of this like they want to do what Tesla's doing, right? And that makes a lot of sense. But also, what if they are more self-driving kind of cars.
My guess is they would have to do both. That the self-driving cars are still such a question mark that they would have to come up with a car that they could sell as drivable, but at the same time be preparing for the self-driving car. And like Tesla, have a bunch of those features in the car you drive yourself so that it becomes a self-driving car pretty easily. Or they're just going to wait until, Google and everybody have paved the way and then just pop in with a self-driving car.
My only question is, where would they find the manufacturing capacity to actually build a complete car?
No, that's why I keep saying they're going to partner with somebody. They're just going to partner with somebody who'll build it for them. They're not going to buy the manufacturing capacity. I'm pretty, and I'm probably wrong, but I'm pretty certain about that.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just thinking of people out there. I mean, like, they could probably go with Magna because they do a lot of the component fabbing for the big three and Toyota and stuff for car companies in North America, but also in Europe. And they're huge. They were tipped to buy Saturn when people thought Saturn was going to be
right.
But yeah, I'm just curious because it's, you can have a multitude of fab plants, you can have a multitude of electronics, and even consumer electronics plants. But I'm trying to think of a situation where you could do a car that level, because you would still need to buy parts separately from subcontractors, and that brings a whole
yeah, but that's no different than Foxconn. It's no different than what Foxconn does.
Yes and no. I would just say that the cost alone of holding inventory would be at least, I don't know, it's somewhere.
Yeah, you're right about inventory. That's true, but I mean, you could get capacity. Yeah,
but what you were saying about control kind of would cut into that, because if they do really want to, I know it's all up
you
there,
just, I mean, you just strike the deal that says this is how you build it, and you build it for us. Is that weird?
I don't know how many recall. Have you gone through the NHTSA car recall? I mean, the airbag
that's
alone.
That's a different question, though.
Well, no, but that's what I'm saying is that a lot of these.
I don't see this as that much different than going and getting the FCC approvals and the other certifications for a phone, and then telling Foxconn build this phone the way we want it to be built. I guess the difference is I don't know that there are many manufacturers out there that aren't owned by the company that also designs the cars. Whereas with phones and stuff, there are plenty of intermediaries.
Yeah. We'll see. When there's an Apple car rolling around, we can then tell each other who was wrong and who was right.
Justin gets to be right either way. It was the smartest thing he ever did.
Yeah.
I mean, this is I'm continuing to evolve as a tech media gas man. Like I need to make bold predictions that are as bold as they are useless.
If someone could please go back into the episode, clip out the part where he says that Apple will not make a car, clip out the part where he says they will make a car separately, and then send them to Justin so he can have them on hand.
Yeah.
And see, I said it. Here's the evidence.
As Tony Kornheiser says, I believe I had that one.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, that is it. Thanks, everybody. We're published. We're good. Actually, hold on. Let me make sure I didn't screw it up like I did yesterday. I'm pretty sure I didn't.
Maybe they could give you a free barrel full of GMO-free apples with each new car purchase.
Genuine GMO-free apples financing. All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching or listening.
See you, folks.
Bye.